Hello, everyone. I'm Dani, and welcome to our podcast. Today, Great.com talks with Michael Wanello, the Executive Director of the Haiti Reforestation Partnership. If you don't know them yet, they provide resources, education, and expertise to support reforestation work in Haiti. And remember, if you're new here to this podcast, press subscribe on YouTube or on your podcast app, right? Hi, Michael. Welcome to Great Talks.
Good afternoon. How are you today? Thank you for having me.
I'm great. Thank you for joining us. I'm actually pretty excited to talk about your project. And I think it would be nice to begin asking you about some historical context about Haiti. I don't know if our listeners are familiar with their story, with the process of colonization and all. We don't have to go in deep detail, but if you could just give us an overview, that would be great.
Sure. So back in the revolution from Haiti's freedom from France, a lot of the debt that was accumulated through the revolution was sold off and paid off by mahogany. And Haiti was one of the Caribbean islands that had lots and lots of mahogany. And most of the French provincial furniture that is in the market today is all from Haitian lumber. So a lot of that lumber was harvested along with sugarcane and tobacco and many products. And that's how Haiti paid off their debt to France during the revolution. That was now 300 plus years ago. Haiti was the first country in the Caribbean to get freed. Even before the United States, it was a free country. Most of the slaves had come over from Africa, from Liberia. And that's how the country basically started. After the revolution, many people went back to Africa, but the Haitians stayed. Indigenous people that were on the island continued to work with the Africans that stayed there, and that's what Haiti has become today.
Wow, I got it. I didn't know about this whole debt thing. Of course, I've always wondered how do we pay off those things, but wow. That really puts things in perspective.
Yeah, so it was a lot of mostly mahogany. And during the harvest of the wood, what's happened is that they denuded the mountaintops and created a whole new problem of all the topsoil washed away. And the island became pretty much denuded of any kind of soil. And what's happened is that through reforestation, we're bringing back forests, we're bringing back topsoil, we're bringing back peat. So people are able to grow things, both food in their gardens, black beans, tomatoes, and those types of things, but as well, we're producing lumber. And the lumber is used for a variety of different reasons that I'm sure we'll touch base on in this podcast.
Yes, definitely. I have a question about that. But before going in, just I was searching in your website and in your history there, you say that you have been working, the program has been working with CODEP, that stands for Comprehensive Development Program. What is exactly CODEP?
CODEP is 750 people that over the course of years we have brought in, and they work in 12 different zones, or 14 different zones now. We've added a couple. And the zones are anywhere from, I'll speak in acres, about 100 acres to 150 acres. There's a road that connects from the north of the South Fork to the south of the South Fork. It's called the Jacmel Road, and we work within 5 miles of each way of the Jacmel Road. So these workers are paid a bonus twice a year, and they go out and they've been planting annually about 500,000 trees. Now we steward the trees for 5 years. Our biggest problem is feral goats. They will come and eat the seedlings. So what we do is we start in nurseries that are called pepinas, and we harvest our own seeds at the local markets. Some are fruit seeds, some are, different varieties of hardwoods and pines, softwoods. And we start in we used to be little black plastic bags, but I was opposed to using black plastic bags because Haiti has a lot of trash on the island. So we now pick up, we pay a goud, which is about 1/3 of a penny for a plastic bottle. So we have the kids in the community involved. They pick up these plastic bottles. We cut the tops off, we put holes in the bottom, and we plant our seeds in those. There's 41 nurseries that are run by the Chef of Keeps. So the zone is run by the animator, and an animator is a gentleman or a woman who comes into us with either they own the land, they lease the land, or they have some family connection to the land, and they want the land to have better soil, more trees. So they volunteer that land into this project. The Chef of Keep is the person who runs the pepino or the nursery. And under the Chef of Keep, we have 20 to 25 workers. And the workers are the ones who are responsible for starting the seeds with the topsoil that we've created and growing the seedlings. We steward the seedlings in the pepino for anywhere from 6 to 9 months. When they're mature enough, we plant them in the ground. After they're in the ground, we take care of them for 5 years. And after 5 years, the tree is sustained enough that the goats aren't really going to eat them. Sometimes we have to put a little barrier around the tree. Goats seem to like fruit trees more than they do hardwoods and softwood trees. So we sort of put little barriers around them and the goats stay away from them. If the goats are involved, the workers are out there shooing the goats away. After the tree is matured, the tree is either there for the owner to sell the owner of the land or the animator to sell the fruit in local markets, to harvest the wood for a profit. So there's a variety of different ways the owner or the person leasing the land can make some money for himself besides the bonus package that we're offering to them.
Oh.
The CODEP workers all live in the community. I have been in that community for about 12 years now, so I'm incorporated in the community. And my background was psychology here in the United States. So I'm more into empowering people to make their own decision than coming in and telling them this is what you need to do. You know, I think it has to come from within. The animators are the decision-making people in the organization. I come to the table with financial support, and I come to the table with some different ideas and different ways of looking at things, but it's their decision how they do it. Currently, we've just started in the last 2 to 3 years a mentorship program, because most of the animators have been working for about 30 years and they're getting older. And you know, and sadly enough, in the last couple of years, we've had some animators pass away. So for me, it was, we need to get the younger generation involved. And the younger generation is more into environmental studies. We used to be a mission group, you know, where missionaries would come down and churches would come down and pledge money and try to help the people. And it was the poor Haitians, right? Well, now we're looking at it as an environmental issue. Global warming is out of control. The environmental issues are really suffering. And this is a way for us to help the environment. So for me, somebody who enjoys the environment, it was really important for me to get more and more young people involved. So the mentorship program is a 2-year program. We teach reforestation. We're now trying to set up a scholarship fund where we can take some of these students and send them to university to become agronomes so that they would be able to then become the animators of the future. Did I answer your question?
Absolutely, yes.
I felt like I was rambling towards the end. I'm sorry.
No. It just gave me all the details I needed. I loved it. And I was actually quite impressed with, first, the level of involvement of the local community. As we were speaking before, I think this is something vital for any project to succeed. And I feel like you've done this in a whole different level because you created this, let's say, this chain of process and getting involved all different kinds of people, different ages, with different backgrounds, with different objectives, let's say, with that project. So I'm just mesmerized by it. And also that brought me another question for you.
Okay.
That these areas, we're not talking here about just preservation areas, right? Because this is not just to preserve like a certain type of tree, a certain type of environment, but it's about work as well, right? So you work the land.
Oh, by all means. So we take raw land, and what we do initially is we plant vetiver grass, and vetiver grass is used for perfume. The roots are used for perfume. So we stabilize the soil with vetiver, and the roots grow double the amount of the foliage does. So it's stabilizing the soil. After they take, which is usually about 9 months, we come back in and we dig ramps. And a ramp is it's a trench that you and I would know as a trench. And it's usually 20 to 30 foot long, 5 foot deep, 5 foot wide. And it's to catch water during the rains. So the water is catched there and then it's slowly released. The first tree that we plant, which is not native to Haiti, is eucalyptus. And the reason we plant eucalyptus is because it loses its leaves 3 times a year. It's very forgiving. You can cut down a eucalyptus tree for charcoal, which most people do, and it sends up different shoots. So it'll just regenerate itself up to 5 or 6 times. So that's what sort of stabilizes the soil. And after the eucalyptus takes, then we come back in and we plant hardwoods. We'll plant fruit trees. We'll plant ced, which is like an oak tree. We'll plant pine trees, all these different trees, and create a forest. Now, what we do is we take the hardwoods and the softwoods and plant them in the middle of the land. And on the outskirts, we plant the fruit trees because there's footpaths. And as people walk by, they can pick avocados, they can pick lemons, limes, mangoes, all kinds of different fruit. One for nutrition, so they have something in their bellies to eat. But more importantly, they can sell them at the market for a profit. At the local market, like where I live, there's a mango market going on right now. And many of our workers are going down and selling mangoes. So it's money coming into their household for rice and oil and other staples to help support their family.
Wow. And that, again, brings me to another thing, that with that, we are not just preserving, it's not just about environment, it's not just about climate, but it also must have some economical and social impacts.
Oh, by all means.
Yeah.
Yeah, by all means. Yeah, it's putting money in people's pockets. The trees themselves help the environment. You know, it's eating up carbon in the atmosphere. The sad thing about Haiti is that there's no laws for emissions in vehicles, as well as people burn their trash. They're burning styrofoam and plastic and really killing the atmosphere. So we're combating that by planting these trees that have leaves on it. And the leaves are, you know, letting out absorbing the CO2 and letting out oxygen. So it's helping the air quality as well. But economically, people make money. Socially, it's sort of like it's like a team of people going out having fun, because they know that they're going to get some food in their belly. They know they're going to make a little bit of money. And they know now through the knowledge that we're sharing with them that they're helping the environment. So it's a win-win for them. It truly is a win-win. And it's sort of like a social club, if I could put it like that. You know, it's like, let's get together and go plant trees. We used to be of the model where we paid a day a week and the workers volunteered a day a week. But due to funding and so on and so forth, we now do a bonus package. And we give a bonus package twice a year. Each worker is making about $100, which is good money in Haiti. We try to give it out during the time of school fees. So the money is going to the kids' education instead of being wasted on prestige, which is the local beer or the local rum. You know, we're trying to get the workers to understand that education is the way of changing lives of the kids in the future.
That's very smart. That's so very smart. Yeah. And how long does it take to, you know, for the whole process to happen, from this early stage of just taking care of the seeds until you have a full grown tree? Just to put in
So
perspective.
trees can be harvested after 10 years.
Okay.
And when I say harvested, they're big enough that we can get boards out of them for building purposes. And we do that. We have a sawmill on site. But the rule of thumb is if you harvest a tree, you have to plant 5 trees within a 5-foot radius.
Oh.
So as much as we're harvesting a tree, we're doing reforestation at the same time. Now, the animator's job is to go out and make sure workers are doing what they're supposed to do. My job is to make sure the animators are doing what they're supposed to do and bring money to the table. Yeah, I mean, that's the most important thing. It's important that people are reimbursed for their time and their efforts. Is in any industry, any business, we're a nonprofit. So most of our funding comes from donations. We're looking into some grants at this point in time. But, that's how we work.
Yeah, and talking about money and sadly getting to the end of our interview, what is the best way for people to help you keep up with these efforts, with the program?
So we are a 501(c)(3) here in the United States. We are a nonprofit organization. People make donations through our website. They become familiar with us and they do monthly small donations, blah, blah, blah. Through churches, a lot of churches here in the United States are still donating to us. So I come in and I do some talking, I do public speaking and educate people about that. We have some videos that we share. So however people can help is important to us. And every little penny helps, I have to say that for a worker to put in a year's worth of work for $100 isn't a lot of time. It isn't a lot of money, excuse me.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And it really isn't when you look at the world economy. In Haiti, we are the poorest country in this hemisphere. So there's really no money in Haiti. The average worker in the industry field makes about $2.50 a day. So it's a whole different economic environment that I had to get used to. I was working in the United States and my dollar, my $1 US goes a far way. Right now, Haiti's in conflict. There's no president. The president was assassinated a year ago. So the prime minister is ruling the country almost by a dictatorship, but not, nobody's calling it a dictatorship right now. And there's a lot of gang violence going on because everybody wants control. But it's home. I've been there for a number of years and I have no plans on leaving. The thing that mesmerized me about Haiti in the very beginning is that Haitians who had absolutely nothing were happier than people I knew in the United States that had everything. And to me, that was heartwarming. So I initially donated my time and now I donate money and I know that I'm helping people and it's an important thing. And I'm helping the environment.
Definitely, all great points. And I understand what you mean by that, by seeing the differences. And yeah, it truly leaves a mark. You cannot get inside a situation like this and meet people so different and not take something with you. So yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Michael, for talking to us. It was a wonderful talk.
Oh, Danielle, anytime. And if I can answer many more questions, please let me know.
I sure will. And for everyone listening, remember to go to their website, which is HaitiReforest.org. You can read more about it there. And thank you for listening, for staying here with us one more time. And if you enjoyed this episode, remember to press subscribe on YouTube or in your podcast app, because that shows the algorithm that this is an important conversation and more people can learn about the importance of the Haiti Reforestation Partnership. Bye and see you at the next episode.